It's raw after midnight. Ram. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Roro After Midnight. There it is. See that little logo right there? Oh, there he is. Nope, there he is. Anyway, thank you again for joining me in another episode of Roro After Midnight. This is my wait, 2 second. Yes, my first show of the year. Of the year. Before I start, I'd like to remind everyone that I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Roro the Tenor. And you can subscribe on YouTube channel, Filipino Tenor. And don't forget, oh my God, where's my mouse? There you go. And don't forget to send your 50 cents via Venmo to at Roro the Tenor. Sorry, I have to wear my bunny suit that Aunt Clara gave me for Christmas, okay? And there it is, okay? Now, for our joke of the day. Our joke of the day is, what's the difference between roast meat and pea soup? Anyone can roast meat. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Okay. And as usual, I'd like to thank my husband for donating his expertise. Again, joke of the day generously donated by my husband, Steven. Follow him on Instagram at Steve Areno Hunter. He knows my humor. Aw. Look, Carl says, hi, Earl. He's not here yet. God, Carl. Sheesh. Anyway, I'd like to bring you now my guests for this evening. This evening show is entitled Been There, Done That, Got T-shirt. Okay? And now, I'd like to bring to you Mr. O Patriarchal and Miss Buffy Baggett. Hello. Say hi. Oh my God.
Hi.
Hello. You. Yes. Where are you, Earl?
I'm in the Hudson Valley, New York.
Wait, you got cut off a little. You were in where again?
I'm in the Hudson Valley in New York.
Wow, in the Hudson Valley. That is so Jesus of you. You walk there? Oh, Hudson Valley. I thought you said river. Never mind.
No.
And what about you, Buffy?
I'm in sort of the San Francisco Bay Area, in a little tiny sort of a little hamlet called Point Richmond.
Awesome. So, as you know, there's the East Coast. There's the East Coast and there's the West Coast, and I'm in the Midwest. Anyway, here it's not bad. The weather here. How's the weather in each of your places? Earl, how's the weather there right now? Is it snowing, raining?
It's cold. We had a snowstorm about 3-4 days ago, and we had about a good foot and almost foot and a half. And then a bunch of rain came, washed it all away, and now it's cold. It's probably 30 degrees. It could snow, rain. It's that time of season and year.
What about you, Buffy?
Well, we finally, just this last week, we got some rain, which we really needed in California. So we're very happy with that. It's like in the mid 50s. So not too cold, not
Wow.
like Chicago, not like my Chicago days. No.
I envy you. Now, we are now I have them here on my show because they are currently let's see here. Buffy is currently singing with San Francisco Opera Chorus, and Earl is singing currently with the Metropolitan Opera Chorus. But one thing. Look at that. And he got the t-shirt. See that? Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. Been there, done that means because both of them have had really good, successful solo career before moving into the realm of of being in the as a chorister. So before we get into all of that, just give you a little background. We'll start with Buffy. So Buffy, I put here that you went to UCLA. We're both from UCLA, so that's cool.
Mhm.
And then you also went to San Francisco State University.
That's right.
And then you also went to Ryan Opera Center, formerly Lyric Opera Center for American Artists. In my heart, you know what? I'm not in the program anymore. In my heart, it'll always be Loca.
I do the same thing. I keep calling it Loca. I'm like, oh.
For me, I have to, but I have to put that. It's like it's the name now. But I always have to put formerly, and we were there. We weren't there in the same batch and everything. But that's when I was in the program when I met Buffy when she did the matinees of Carmen, and I was in them. So that was awesome. Let me see. We got a little bit like, oh yay! Look at that. Lexi says, "Soloist, chorus."
Hi, Lexi.
Clap, 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 Lexi. So now we're going back to Buffy. Buffy's notable roles are Carmen, Mrs. Lovett, Madalena, and composer. Which one's your favorite out of these four? See?
Oh my gosh. You know what?
Four.
I really like Mrs. Lovett in my heart of hearts. But I'm a big horror movie fan. So
I'm a big horror movie as well.
well,
Horror? Well, if you're a big horror movie fan, then you should go for Carmen.
horror.
And then a little bit. So you've sung with Lyric Opera, Chicago Opera Theater, Santa Fe, in France, in Canada, Arizona, and many more. Now I'm gonna show you a little bit of a few pictures. I have to put me here now so that so that you guys could see. So this is, tell us where this was.
So this is Mrs. Lovett, and this was in St. Petersburg Opera. But doing this at St. Petersburg kind of got me the role in Hawaii Opera Theater. So, in which I actually worked opposite of the exact same Sweeney Todd. So it was fun.
What about this one? Now, I knew you from singing the schoolboy in Lulu and also the other two roles, but here you're Countess Geschwitz.
Yes. And so that was at, it used to be Berkeley Opera, and now it's called West Edge Opera. They're kind of a funky little opera company that does interesting things, and they move all of the productions around to different places right now. So
this is very... There's a character for that, and then it's not Marlene Dietrich. It's like one of those cabaret looking.
You're thinking I can't remember her name, but the one that used to wear the little bobbed hair. Who was
exactly
exactly.
So now that I've shown all your credentials and stuff, just tell us a little bit of where you're from, where you're born and raised, family, and everything.
Okay. I was actually born in San Jose, but raised in Sacramento, California. So was kind of a California girl for many years until I really did just sort of up and move to Chicago once I got the Young Artist program there. And then I was in Chicago for 15 years. Yeah, for a long time. But even what led me to Chicago was being in the Santa Fe program. So it's funny, all these little programs kind of lead to one another or can do that. So.
And you stayed for how many years did you do the Ryan Opera Center? Loca.
Well, for Loca, I was there for 2 years. Yeah,
me too. I already also did 2.
That was pretty typical at the time. I know that now they're going a little longer sometimes, but
usually you only stay a third when they really think that you need it. Not the other way around, that they need you, because now it's a totally different. It's a totally different now. It's a totally different system now. So, yes, well, thank you, Buffy. Now we're going to go change this to Earl. Oh, my God, Earl. That's a famous song by Dixie Chicks. I don't know. Anyway, so Earl, patriarchal baritone. Now, Earl went to the other LA school.
Actually, when I saw that that you were from UCLA, I was like, we're not friends anymore.
Exactly. Well, I think that's one of the cool things about being in music. In my opinion, at least most of us, I don't care about the sports part. Most of us didn't. So USC and UCLA, when it comes to like singers, we're like, I got along with USC people. So
Well,
didn't
I was a football player, so
ah
yeah. So the rivalry is pretty real. When you walk around campus, how many years ago, and seeing, your colleagues dragging around the bear, just kicking it and everything. It's
so you went to USC and then you did the Maryland program and you were an Adler fellow. How many how many summers did you do the Maryland, and how long were you an Adler fellow?
I did 2 summers with Maryland. They usually do a major opera and a minor opera. And then they take it on tour when that existed, which was Western Opera Theater. And we toured La Boheme and La Traviata, which was it was really an invaluable experience because it gave you a taste of what being a soloist on the road is, and that unfortunately is taken away. There's not that opportunity for young artists to experience that. Now I don't know of any major touring opera companies anymore that exist. But we toured all these little cities, and you had to learn how to learn how to cope with artistic things. But being on the road, the psychological value of being away. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I was there, and then I was an Adler fellow for 2 years.
Now, Earl's notable roles are, of course, Figaro, which he has probably done a lot more than the others, right? This is your signature role. Is that right?
Yeah, there's certain roles that find you, and signature. I did a lot of Figaros, and I enjoyed it, and and if you're asking the favorite roles that I would say, I would say the ones that we're doing at the time. I enjoyed so much of the repertoire, and I had a very good run. But Figaro was a very good friend to me.
I say the same thing when somebody says, "What's your favorite role?" Normally, I mean, it's a cliche, but right, the three of us, it's like usually our favorite role is the one that we're currently doing because we're so absorbed with it and we enjoy it. So yeah, it's a cliche, but it's true, guys. Don't use it against us. Now for the places that he's oh, look at that. Oh, let me see. Carl says Earl was a fab Figaro.
Let me give you a hug. Thank you.
He's here because it's Pinoy power. That's why he's here. So Earl has sung at the Met in San Francisco, Chicago, Houston, Seattle, Boston, Los Angeles Opera. Wait, but there's more. He also sang in Stuttgart, Bayerische Staatsoper, Paris, Berlin, Madrid, the Welsh National Opera. So it's a very extensive career that he had. Like, you guys should Google him. Don't forget. Oh, yeah, Carl Reyes knows everyone. See, now it's all about Carl. And
well, it's always about you, bud.
So check out. He also has a few recordings, including Manon. Manon is the one he sang Lescaut in Manon with Georgiou and Alanya with Papano conducting, and he was also in the original Doctor. No, wait, not original. The original recording, I guess, not the original production, but original recording of Dr. Atomic. And both of these were Grammy nominated. So just to let everyone know. And now I get to show a few pictures, not a few, just a couple. Maybe he has a story or two, but we talked about the story about later. Don't say it. No, this one. Tell us what's a good story about this, Earl.
Arthur Woodley. He is such a great artist and is a good friend, and he has such a deep voice, and he's originally from the islands. So his wife is Italian, and he speaks fluent Italian. Wow. But when we met for the first time, I said, "All right, brother, you have to say it." and he said it, which is "Put the lime in the coconut to mix it all up." And we had a lot of fun with it. Such a great sense of humor, and we had a lot of, when you're on the road, you really connect with your colleagues because they're all you have, really, many times away from family, and so you bond for that ever, that 2-3 weeks time of rehearsal, and then 3 weeks or how many times that you run the show, you have each other, and so you bond with each other, and you connect with certain people, personalities, and Arthur and I just hit it off right off the bat, and I was so pleased that he made his Met debut. Long overdue, and he was in Bohème, and I was like, "You made it! You made it!" I did. And such a deserving artist, and truly a great artist, and I just love Arthur to death. I'm trying to remember what this is. Oh, it was Manon Lescaut at Seattle. Oh, yeah, it was in Seattle. Yeah.
It is.
We hit this burger joint all the time. We would always walk home from a performance or rehearsal, but there's this burger joint we would hit. Like, you want to hit it? Come on, they got great fries there. I'm like, I need that like a hole in the head, Arthur, but let's do it. So, yeah, what a great, that was fun.
Now, this next one is with, of course,
Mr. Eric Owens. He's a big star now, big Wagnerian star.
So, by the way, when was the last time you sang? When was the last time Eric sang in like last season where you were a part of?
I think he did. I can't remember the role in It Was Good to Demerung. He sang.
Hagen.
Hagen, that's right. And he's just a great artist and a terrific human being. So he can't play basketball with poop. And not very good for Philadelphia, but yeah, I can't say that I do as well. But we go back a long time. We actually we did a lot of when we were just coming out of our respective apprentice programs. We just did tons of competitions, and we were always together. It's like, oh, you again? All right, we'll see what they want this time. Just give it a month. Whatever. What's first prize? I'll take second. You'll take it next time. We had, but his what the line I remember very clearly is he'd won the Pavarotti competition one, and he said, "Earl, the only thing I want as a prize is 3 tenors and a bass."
3 tenors on the bass.
Yeah. I have to do it like this. I have to speak like this, like Eric does. He speaks down here.
So now we go to pictures with me because it's my show. Ooh, look at this. By the way, this is the opening night party after Lulu in 2008, and it looks like Buffy already had a few drinks. I'm kidding. No, he did not. She did not.
Well, I might have. After Lulu, you need a drink or two.
So, funny story about this. We had a cast member, and long story short, I'm not gonna say. Actually, yeah, I could. But the one who played the animal trainer in Lulu. All right, you guys gonna love this story. The one who played animal trainer, he doesn't like using lotion or to moisturize his hands. He always likes his hands moisturized. So we didn't know that until we heard this page from John. John Coleman paged this. Mr. Bookball's dresser, please. Mr. Bookball's dresser to the stage with Vaseline. I was like, what? Everyone actually stepped out of their dressing room. It's like, what? So, and the thing about it is he would have Vaseline all over the doorknobs and sometimes on the costume. Costume department did not love that.
Oh my gosh. And my big worry was that he had to throw me over one of his shoulders and carry me on for one of our entrances.
With Vaseline. With
Vaseline on his hands. He would throw me over his shoulder so hard that I almost threw up every night.
My God. Like, oh. He's a big guy.
Yeah, he's huge. Big guy. So
huge guy. So anyway, going back to this. Now, what about this, Earl? Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah. That was Pittsburgh Opera, we did Madame Butterfly, and you as Goro and I as Sharpless.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was fun. That was my very first professional Goro. Very
Oh,
first.
get out!
That was my favorite production to date.
Wow.
You know why? It's the water. The fact that they had water on the stage, and the only people who moved through the water were the Kokins. Nobody went to the water but those assistants, and it was so. And then the whole like waiting, the whole waiting scene in Act 2, it became a dream sequence. So it was like the actors were dancing, and it's like we're seeing Butterfly's dream of how she was gonna have a reunion with Pinkerton. So the whole time it was very visual. That's why I love that production. I wish we could do. I mean, I could do that again. I would love that. Oh, look at that. Vaseline, yes, that's right. Buffy and I might be fans of the gin. Oh,
we might be.
Yeah.
Lexi and I, we've spanned some time together.
Now, before we get to the nitty gritty of what we really want to know about them, then and now and both, I want to show you. It's like a couple of clips of their singing because they're amazing. Okay. Here we go. Enjoy. Wait, comment. What's the last comment? Oh, yes. Steven says the candles in the water were beautiful. Earl, he's talking about the production in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was just good. It
really was. And the singers were wonderful. Veronica Villarreal was the butterfly, and she just rocked it. She got up, and many butterflies shouldn't be singing the role, or they're past their prime and they waddle all over the place. And she got up and just rocked that.
It was
role.
a really good experience. It was a really good experience.
Beautiful, singing beautifully and powerful, which is a hard thing to do.
Yeah. Now I'm going to show you a couple of clips, and I hope you like it. Well, you have to like it, or else I'm going to hate all.
Bravo, you!
Oh my God. Earl was so nice and so handsome. I want to be a girl. Well, I am a girl, not biologically, but everything else I do like a girl. Okay, so a little comments here and there. It's like Carol says, "Wow, Buffy sounds fab," and then it's like I would expect nothing less. She the best. Oh, and then bravo, Earl Gorgias, Angela Gorgias. Oh, gorgeous. Sorry, Gorgua. Thank you. Oh, both sound so rich. Yay. See, they love you. They really love you. Ooh, now we go to business. Now we are talking about business. Me first. So, first question is, what is the hardest part about being a soloist? Let's start with Buffy.
I think for me, there were like two things that were probably equally as hard. One is just the kind of the unreliability of making sure that you've got work lined up consistently enough to make sure you can pay all your bills and do all of that stuff. So that was always a little, kind of tough for me. And then the other, the other hard thing is just knowing that you got to be snap on the ball all the time, every time. There's a level of, perfection, which I always kind of feel is a little overrated, but that idea of that you can't be anything less than your best at any given time, whether it's rehearsal or performing, it's stressful. There's nobody to lean on except for yourself, really, So.
What about you, Earl?
Well, I think Buffy's got it right. There's that saying that you're only as good as your last performance, and you have to maintain making a career isn't one isolated performance. You have to maintain that level through a long period of time. And yes, it is stressful to have that pressure on yourself and have that expectation of others to be great, because when people are paying money to see a show, they don't want to see mediocre, and so it's draining, physically draining, emotionally draining, psychologically draining to maintain that. So I have such respect for some of these artists who go for 30 years, 35, 40 years, and in case of say Domingo, many people, to have that kind of stamina to maintain a career that length and maintain that level of greatness is such a difficult thing to do. There are people who are great for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, but to maintain that for a long time is a difficult thing. But that isn't the most difficult thing about being a soloist, I find. The most difficult thing of being a soloist, and people don't realize it unless you're in it for a long time, is the isolation, the loneliness that you can feel. And it sounds very juxtaposed, because you figure, you're on stage, or you're going on all over the world, and you're in front of all of these audiences. What part of that is not feeding you? But it truly is a very isolated life. You go from city to city, and you're in a different hotel room, and you meet different colleagues, but you're only there for a short time. So you can't, unless you see the same people all the time, which in certain repertoire you do, but in others it's a new cast every time. So you're starting from square one. But it's the loneliness, the isolation, and that wreaks havoc on families. It just does. I don't care, and that's in all music. If you're in a rock band, you got to tour, you got to sell that album, so you're on the road. It doesn't matter. And if you're in an orchestra, or you're a great pianist or whatever, you've got to travel. You have to travel. That's part of the that's part of the job. So again, it takes a certain type of a person who can be comfortable with being by themselves for a long period of time.
Hey, Earl, I've got a question just from that kind of jogged my, again, my thinking about the other part of the career that I think can be kind of lonely is just literally being in a room and trying to memorize music.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Only I know you can do that.
And that was totally tough. It's not like, like you can't run lines
Right.
like
Well,
with your
anytime
partner
you're-
necessarily.
Many times you were doing a gig, performing something, and at the same time preparing the next gig, or preparing an opera that you're going to do down the road. But that is for those who are in a continual stream of work. I'm sure others would say battling sickness or trying to be healthy. I know tenors struggle with that, so they get a little cold and that's it. And you wonder, and I understand it. But a lot of you hear these stories of certain singers being very difficult, being unhinged or, just, strange. Look, bottom line is they're artists. Artists are not, we're out of the box. The way we think, the way we do things is different, and from what other people would characterize as normal. But it's a different experience, and I think until you're in it, and experience it from the perspective of having that a career, you can't fully understand the angst. Again, I'm more compassionate. You hear these stories about these great singers who were either volatile or who knows if they were bipolar or whatever. And I'm much more compassionate. Of course, we're in the business of being a good colleague, and that's, of course, you need to, you want to make a career is built. It isn't made overnight. You build a career, and part of that building is being a good colleague. Because if you're not a good colleague, you don't get hired back, and that's how you build a career.
Now my question is, and then I'm going back to Buffy. My question is, you guys talked about, let me do this. You guys talked about isolation and oh my God, the hardship. With that comes, I want to know if you guys ever have any breakdowns. And if you do, can you remember exactly what happened? It could be an internal breakdown or an external. Did you throw, when you were in a hotel, did you throw lamps? Did you go out and drank a lot because it was just so overwhelming? You know what I mean? Did you get overwhelmed? Any kind of breakdown for any reason when you were traveling or when you were still, when you were being a soloist? Tell us.
Mine mostly happened when I was in the Young Artist Program. The pressure was incredible when I was there. And honestly, I'm one of those people that, I went to UCLA for a little while, then went to San Francisco State. So I didn't have a good foundation necessarily on how to learn music. It was good on stage and that was fine. But all of the building blocks of becoming a singer and even knowing the repertoire, I had no idea. I came in like a complete dunce about it. So,
and that was the most that you really felt the pressure, and you're like,
I think I did, and
out loud, and this is fucking.
I remember once and I'm usually pretty strong, I don't break down in front of people, but I remember during a rehearsal, and it was just it was an off the cuff kind of remark that one of our accompanists made. To my detriment, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't like I was being bullied. And I just little tears.
You're right. I remember those times when, you're being coached and you feel so stupid. It's like, no, I'm doing my best. I just can't get it because your brain is overloaded with so much stuff. And then you're like, oh my God, why am I doing this? Am I cut out for this? Yep. That's true. What about you?
It was not the coach. It was just the pressure.
It was the pressure. What about you, Earl? You traveled a lot and you traveled in so many different cities, so many different countries. Did you ever have a break? I mean, we're talking about Earl here. Earl is like the teddy bear of all, one of the teddy bears of opera. It's like, did you ever have a breakdown?
Well, look, I mean, I have to say, in defense of, it takes a certain personality to be a soloist and put yourself in front of 3,000-4,000 people night after night. You have to have a certain center and a core. My center and core has always been my faith. That just has always been there. I always say, you know, and I love my friends. Friends have failed me and will fail me again. I still love them. Family has failed me and will fail, and I still love them. But God has never failed me. So that has been for me my tether to sanity.
Got it.
Is my faith. But as far as weakness and things, and again, there you have to have a certain strength inside. You have to, and I hate to use the word ego, but you do. It's a very, you know, you're in front of people, the spotlight's on you, the focus is on you as a soul, and people are watching you, so you have to, you know, it's a lot of pressure. So you, and to maintain that for a long time isn't an easy thing, but with that over time gives you strength. You can do it. As far as breaking down, I mean, I know I grappled one time with, I had a crash and burn moment, which I think the best of us have. And one of those crash and burn moments, I was at the Hollywood Bowl, and it was a great venue, and I was doing Germont and La Traviata, and I had just flown from, I think I had just flown from Frankfurt, Germany, and so I was on like a 12-hour jet lag. And so I did this stupid thing and took melatonin, which was a big mistake, which basically kept me, instead of making me sleep, kept me awake for like 2 days. So, but thank God at the Hollywood Bowl you get to use a mic. But it came down to the aria, and you know, it was the Provenzo Mario Sol,
Yeah.
you know, Dio Mezzo, and if once you hit that, you're like, oh, thank you, Lord, you hit the high note. I'm like, maybe I'm gonna do it. And then then the last line, you know, Dio Mezzo. I mean, this demon came out of my voice. It just was like, did that just happen for the world to see? And you know, I just remember, and I think in all those things, once you crash and burn, you're not afraid of it, you know, because as when you have the soloist, you want to absolutely, you know, Buffy had said there's a perfectionistic perspective towards wanting to do the very best, and when you don't, it sticks out like a sore thumb. To you, it's monumental. To another person's ears, they'd be like, "What? It was fine." But yeah, you know, and I remember that you learn things. You know, you learn things that whatever happens on stage is right. You know, if you ever have the opportunity to be a cover and you go on, which happened to me several times at the Met, you know, you get the staging, but when you get on a stage, you know, so you don't do this, you don't do that. Whatever happens on stage is right, and you just go, and the audience doesn't know any different. But yeah, as far as breakdowns, I can't point to a certain time of breakdown because. And we're always in a constant state of breaking down. Our bodies are breaking down. you know, it's part of getting older. Yeah. It's just a reality. Your voices are, you know, as you get older, your voice isn't as fresh and isn't as nimble, and you know, especially. I mean, I used to do all that coloratura. I used to sing. I'm like, too many notes now.
Oh my God! You don't have to deal with that as extensively now.
Right. Now,
a lot of words and syllables, but not a lot of coloratura. Can you imagine like a whole chorus trying to do a whole run of coloratura? Good luck.
yeah, have fun with that. Yeah, so.
All right, no, go away. Now we go to another question. What is your initial reaction or gut feeling transitioning to being a chorister? You know, when you realize, you know what, I'm going to audition, I'm going to do this, but what was that? What was going on in your mind? Like, you know, now you're going to change your career. So, yeah.
Oh, you want me to?
Yes.
I see my big mug in the picture.
Yes, exactly.
You know what? For me, it was it was a fairly easy transition because even from the beginning, like when I was in the Young Artist program, you know, I never felt that I was ever going to be assured any kind of a career.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always something that I had talked to all of my chorister friends at the Lyric about. I was like, look, if I can't make this fly, you know, I'm going to be auditioning to try to parlay again. It's just experience and it's your voice. And I was like, well, I think I could do that. And then in addition to that, the roles that I tended to sing, especially the lyric, were like, Three Ladies, the Ariadne trios, all of that. So I really always loved singing in at least small groups.
Yeah.
So when I first honestly, it was sort of like, well, I don't have a whole lot of work, so I'm going to audition for extra chorus at San Francisco Opera. And, I was given quite a few shows, but then I couldn't take all of them because I still had solo work going on. And then I was thrown into some solo work at San Francisco for a couple of shows. But then that next time that I auditioned, then they offered me a full time, which I could not take, which was a real bummer. Because again, I had a couple of gigs lined up, and it wasn't like easy gigs that you can just pop people into. It was one of the secretaries in Nixon in China for San Diego. And it was Mrs. Levitt at Hawaii Opera Theater.
I'm canceling.
I'm going. I'm not canceling.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a paid. What is that?
Like a little paid vacation,
A paid vacation. You sing with Hawaii Opera Theater. It's a paid vacation. That's what it is.
It's wonderful.
You freaking accept it. So
yeah, you take it.
Way, yeah, I was just keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. So I just kept kind of plugging along. Just trying to kind of get in when I could. But there was one moment where there was one year and I said, okay, I'm really going to just focus on trying to get into the opera chorus. And I was lucky enough that there was a position that was open and that I was the type of mezzo that he was looking for. I mean, there were loads of really great people who auditioned that year. Loads.
So one of the reasons why I got you two were because you guys were both soloists before, and now you're singing in the chorus. But you guys were different kinds of soloists, in the different, like different paths. Where Buffy did regionals and main stage, but at the same time, it wasn't as extensive as what Earl had, because we have just so people know, this show. It's like the reason why I did this is because whether you're a soloist who did a lot of regional companies, or if you're someone who actually made most of your career in major opera houses, these are two people who are now singing in the chorus in two different paths. That's why, in case any of you start thinking about that, this is why I want you to listen to these two, because then you don't have to be one to be able to do this. No, you can be anyone, and it's a matter of understanding what the business is. Now we go to Earl with the same question.
My initial reaction, I was ready, and I was content in the career that I had, even though others would have wanted me to go on. My voice was fresh and I had work lined up. I was always blessed to always have work. I had the best manager you could have in Caroline Woodfield. She was just, and is, I maintain, the best. So all the roles that I did were appropriate, etc. So I didn't want to disrespect the great ride and the great work that I had done, because it truly was wonderful and a wonderful experience, and I'm grateful that I was able to take it at the very highest level. So with that, I was ready for something more of a routine in my life. As a soloist, you don't have a routine. You'll get a schedule. What's your schedule today? Every day, just that day. You don't know what you're doing from one day to the next. That right there, which isn't conducive to a routine in one's. And routine is important as a human being, and people don't realize that when you're going from city to city, or from you have a gap in your schedule here, or it's hard to keep any sort of routine in your life. And I'd craved that for a long time, and it's also an element of stability. And I hate to use the word security and stability, because those are myths also. But you strive for that, and but it was that routine, and I was ready to do that. And the Met Chorus, for quite a long time, was one of the best kept secrets in not just the opera business, but in the music business. When I started researching about the Met Opera Chorus and found out that you actually were given a pension, or you had a Cadillac health insurance, or that you made a living that was you were doing well. I was like, what? It's quite amazing. You don't have to pay a manager. Not that Caroline wasn't worth every penny. You didn't have to pay for 2 mortgages, because when you're on the road, as a soloist, people don't realize is that you're paying for where you're going as well as paying for wherever your home is, or the bill keep coming. So financially, and then you just have to pay taxes and all of those different fun finance things. But transitioning I was ready. I was ready for that routine, and the Met provided that. We're given a schedule for the year, so we can know which operas are coming, which days we have off. We can plan. You can say, yeah, I have this time off. I can meet you for this with a friend, and we can go. We can whatever. But as a soloist, your response was, I don't know if I can meet you. I might have rehearsal. I don't know. I might have a job that's coming and I can't. It's just planning your life. And again, think about that kind of instability over a 20, 30 period of time and mess with you. And that's why I say that being a soloist is not for the weak of mind. You have to have a certain feel inside of you. It is, you cannot be, and it's a difficult balance, because you need that fragility as an artist. You want that you need that fragility, you need that be pliable, but at the same time to stand and say, I always marvel at these, lyric color sopranos who sing, Caro nome in Rigoletto. They have to be fragile, like they're going to break any second. At the same time, they're on the Met stage in front of 4,000 people. So that juxtaposed forces of being fragile and strong at the same time is what a tightrope that is.
Yeah.
And not just one sort of, the tenors. Oh my word, the pressure on tenors. You wonder why we don't have great tenors, because all the baritones who can be tenors are like, no, I'm good as a baritone, thanks. You can have that.
That's true. That's yeah.
Pressure is really enormous, and it's
so
real.
you mentioned already that one of the things you were talking about, best thing about being a chorister, and as you mentioned already a lot of the aspects, at least from the working class point of of pension, and then knowing there's stability, and there's also knowing the routine, those kind of things. That's the best thing about being a chorister. Definite. There's always a definite thing that in advance. So those are, you've mentioned that. Anything else you want to add about being a chorister? Not just working as a chorister, but something about being on stage and
the best thing about being a chorister, first of all, make no mistake, it is hard work. It is a tremendous amount of repertoire that one has to learn. The wonderful thing as a chorister is you get to experience all of the repertoire. As a soloist, you are in your Fach. You sing your 8, 9, 10 signature roles, whether it's Carmen or Figaro, over and over and over. And you rarely get to experience operas unless I have to say, to be honest, many opera singers don't go to the opera on their nights off. They stay home. They rest. They listen to jazz or listen to something else. But there are many who don't mistake me. The best thing about being a chorister, and again, the Met is a different animal. It really is. It's year-round, almost year-round production, and we're 6 days a week, and now we work on Sundays. But and there's such a fraternity of folks, such a great there's 80 of us in the whole time, and you're seeing more of them than your own family. And it is unique on its own. The Met is an anomaly as far as the opera world is concerned. And the Met Chorus is a force to be reckoned with. With people, come. There was a time when being people with the chorus was just sort of the background, and they still are to a certain extent. But to our Maestro Palumbo's credit, who was in Chicago for a long time, who I'm sure if you had any dealings with this man and his perfectionism and his drive to make something great, he's turned the Met Chorus into something very, very special.
Yep. I mean, I remember when what he did with Lyric, and it was Maestro Palumbo. What about you, Buffy? So you want to add to we understand?
Oh,
about,
sure.
Yeah.
I was actually even just going back to the, how did you feel when you first moved into the chorus? Just it occurred to me, and I wonder whether Earl had the same experience. When I first got into the chorus, I would have people would come through, whether it were directors or soloists who didn't know that that I was doing that, and so there was always that. You're in the chorus?
Right. Sure.
I remember Francesca Zambello going, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Shut up."
I have a story about that. So I was in my first day in the chorus. It was, I believe, Carmen, and all of us are lined up for a big scene, and Roberto Alagna, who I've worked with, many times, he walks in, hey, and he sees me in the chorus. And he looks at me and he yelled. It was embarrassing. He looks at me and he goes, "Why? Why?"
Oh no!
And I think that was like the hardest thing to deal with, was having people ask you that.
Right? Constantly explain to your colleagues why you did what you did. Constantly explaining why you made that choice. That wasn't easy. Because people always assume that, you had a vocal breakdown, or you had a lack of work, or there was something wrong, as opposed to, I made a conscious choice to do this for a lifestyle.
Yeah. So now, no. So going back to Buffy,
And so I would say exactly what Earl was talking about. I think my favorite thing, and it may go back to one of the hardest things about being a soloist, is that when you're in the chorus, it's no longer this isolated experience anymore, right? You're with a load of people. In San Francisco, we have a certain amount of time that's allotted for us to learn music if we need to perfect things. So everybody's on the same learning curve, more or less, depending on how many times you've done the shows. And there is that fraternity that is really amazing. And people, it's like a family. People are fighting sometimes, but then, everybody loves each other. So there's my favorite times are when we're finally in the house at our dressing tables, and I'm in the loud girls' dressing room. So everybody's just gabbing, talking, throwing things at each other. It's wild and it's fun. It does make it fun to go to. So, and I'm really lucky in that my husband is also a tenured chorister. So that's another thing that's really great for us, is that we go in together, we go home together. Then we can, kind of do a little takedown of what happened that night. And did you see that? And it's been really, really fun.
So now my last question, now that we are coming to the end of our show, my last question for both of you are, let me see, I'll put mine here so that they could see. Wait, there you go. And then I'll keep you both here. Now, this favorite opera singing in the chorus, and then during our pre-show, I asked you, this is an opera where you are involved in, where you are part of, where it is your favorite opera being in the chorus that you didn't even expect or never thought of that you would actually love the opera until you were already in the chorus, that you were surprised. So we want to know, so that experience. So we'll start with Earl.
The repertoire, again, it's all over the place. Anything Puccini has always been fun. whether it's Turandot or Bohem or Manol Esco, that dude knew how to write for not just soloists, but for chorus.
Good.
And,
Yeah.
just it's a joy to sing anything by Puccini. The other thing that I was surprised that I really, and as a soloist, I didn't really have a lot of experience singing it. But as a chorus, some of the Wagner,
Ah.
there's such a tremendous. I remember the first time I sang "Good to Deborah," all the guys at the end, and it was such a visceral feeling to make such a wall of sound together collectively. And then also, Tannhäuser and many Meistersinger, just the nobleness of the spirit of being in it. It's such a rush, such a wonderful feeling, almost a spiritual one. But I have to say, and it sounds crazy, but the things that have really, I very much enjoyed singing that I didn't think I would, was some of the new things that have been out. Satyagraha, as a great piece. We just finished Akhenaten at the Met, which was such a unique experience from a staging point of view. We had to juggle through the whole opera, but it worked.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that people really need to realize is, when you're watching an opera, it's a lot different than when you're singing in it. There's a big difference between you as a spectator than you actually physically having the music and the sound and the resonance run through your body and performing on stage. People need to realize that. So at least you know that when all of our panels here tell us about their experiences in these operas, this is specifically personal to them, like how they feel. At least they know it's like, well, I saw this. Like, no, you got to understand. There is a, what is that? There is a, well, it's not, for lack of a better word, like out of body kind of experience of like, I did not expect to actually enjoy this. So anyway, I just wanted to remind everyone that, So what about you, Buffy?
Oh, I when you asked that question, I was like texting my husband going, Bill, tell me all the operas that we just sang in for the last 2 years, because I can never remember one to the next. But I will say Meistersinger, I knew I would probably kind of like because it's Wagner. But I didn't realize how incredibly difficult, but then how much fun that the Meistersinger choruses were. They were just out of control fun, because I will admit to maybe falling asleep in the lyric operas ones that they did a while back. So
it's a lot different.
But boy, I mean, all of the different choruses that, second and third and fourth choruses that are all mushed together in that are just a blast. But the ones that that I really know I would enjoy, but one I will never get to sing, and one I'm waiting for it to come back. Nixon in China, I totally want to do the chorus in that. I am waiting for that. I mean, doing the pig, I'm in. I want to do it. Gambe. I'm sure Earl has. You have to.
We did it. Yeah, we did it in China, and it was a blast. It was really, like I said, some of the new things that we did were quite amazing, and that I just wouldn't expect I would like it. But yes, some of that, the new stuff is quite fun.
I mean, this is really good. Like, you know what? I'm so glad you guys said that. First of all, it's a consensus that it's Wagner. For some reason, if you want to enjoy the choral music, like big time and really like absorbing it, go Wagner. But then at the same time, then they know that, if any of, how like when people, whether they're soloists who became chorister or just choristers, for something like the first time they're doing Wagner, because there's this idea, it's like, oh my God, it's going to be hard, and isn't that? And the same thing with Nixon in China, where people are going to say, I don't know, it's new music. They can tell based on your, on your testimonies, we can now tell them, by the way, it may appear new or it may appear boring. Once you start doing it, you'll know exactly how fulfilling it will be for you. So I'm glad you guys said that, that you actually put that out there. So,
And you want to know what the one that I really want to sing that I will never get to sing?
what?
Billy Budd.
Oh, I was just about to say that was one of the best. Yeah, you will never sing that, I'm afraid.
I know. There were a few of us
Yeah.
mezzos who were like, we could do tenor. Well, I can do first tenor.
I was just thinking about that. That's absolutely right. Billy Budd, we did that twice, and
Wow.
so much fun to sing. So well written. One thing that I haven't sung that I'm looking forward to singing is Peter Grimes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Grimes.
Oh, the Grimes. Oh my God. That's the one where I was talking to someone. Oh yeah. With the three ladies, the three singular sensations moment when I had Belinda Oswald, Sherry Watkins, and Jennifer Wallace here. We were talking about one of the and it's the same staging for some reason. It's the same staging everywhere in Peter Grimes, where I call it, oh, that's the Kill the Beast choreography. Kill the Beast. When all the townsfolk charge to the front of the stage, I was like, why is it always? No, that's pretty much what it looks like. Kill the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. That's what it reminds me of. But yes, I do like, now that's visually, I love that scene. Or like, oh my God, these people are gonna kill Peter.
I don't also want to neglect, this is another part of the repertoire, the Russian repertoire. Holy moly.
Oh, I see.
You know?
And
That's amazing. Or even the Czech repertoire again was really, but one of the first things we did was Boris Godunov. I was like, what? I'm sorry, I'm having a Tchaikovsky, Peak Dom.
Peak Dom. Oh,
or Eugene Onegin.
That is a hardcore
glorious music. Glorious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I was watching part of Peak Dom in the green room when you guys were doing it. It was like, the thing about it is I go to green room a lot because that's the only, it's like, I don't want to be in the opera house, but I do want to listen to the music. I'm just going to do the green room and do one act at a time. I cannot do a whole opera. So I would do, like, for example, one night I would do one act of Peak Dom, and the next one I would do an act of like Rosenkavalier. It's weird because it's like, so it's like a different opera every
Rosenkavalier. Also enjoy the thing.
Yeah. So anyway, we have come to the point that we are now done with our show. Not done, we're ending our show. But before I let you guys go, I always ask all of my guests, just however you want, whomever you want to address this to. I call it the wow moment. Let's do a wow moment, like my ears. Oh my God, it's so wowy. Wow moment, words of wisdoms from Buffy and Earl. And before I let you guys go, let us start with Buffy. What is your wow moment?
Wow, words of wisdom. I would say if you're doing Carmen, have a small steak and a Guinness before you go into makeup. It served me well all those years. So
awesome.
That's awesome. That's it.
That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah. What about you, Earl? Anything?
Well, I don't. I think I take it seriously when words of wisdom that are not my own, but I will share them, and I'm sure some will roll their eyes, and I don't care. But I've lived by this scripture that says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. So many young people are like wondering, what is my path? Where am I supposed to go? What is my purpose? And as a singer, that angst is there, but that hasn't failed me.
Thank you, Earl. Well, yeah, just use turns out words of wisdom. I'm a different, I'm also a person of faith in a totally, not different from how people are, because we all deal with lives differently. And one of the things I do, and faith is, it's something intangible, and it's cannot be seen. You just have to trust it. And that is something that I still have. I'm not the most religious person. I'm not a hardcore, nor I am too lax, but that is something that, and I actually owe that to growing up with a very, very great mom. You know what I mean? It's all about the
Sure.
family is very important. So that's why I kept that. And on that note, I'd like you guys to say goodbye to our viewers. I'll put you in the backstage, but say goodbye, y'all.
Nice meeting you, Buffy.
Hi, it was
What a
nice meeting you
pleasure.
too. And hello to Todd and Lexi and
Yes.
Carl.
Let's go through. It's like, so, it's like Todd said I was her Toby. Killer Cast, lots of fun. And then, Todd said, you can't get any better than that lady. She's just a powerhouse and a beautiful human. And then, like, when Carl says Wagner chorus is amazing. And that was so nice. Lynn Mitchell says, good discussion tonight. Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate it so much. Thanks again, Buffy and Earl. Thanks.
Nice to see you, Earl.
Yes,
Nice to
I
see
will.
you, Buffy.
Don't go yet. I'm gonna take you off of the stream, but don't go yet. I will see you in the backstage. Thank you, guys. Now, for my words of wisdom, I'd like to end the show. I'd like to sing you a little ditty from a very famous opera called Nabucco. The very end of it. Che ne imponda al patire virtù al fatire, wait, re virtù